Imagine waking up every day as the most powerful man in the world, commanding armies, ruling over an empire, and bearing the weight of millions of lives. Now imagine that same man sitting down at night with a pen and a piece of parchment, not to draft laws or declare war, but to quietly write reminders to himself, to stay humble, to stay calm, to stay strong. That man was Marcus Aurelius. A Roman emperor, yes, but also a philosopher. One of the last great Stoics. His private writings, now called meditations, were never meant for the world to see. They were notes to his own soul, and somehow, 2,000 years later, they're still speaking to ours. Marcus Aurelius lived in chaos. He dealt with wars, betrayal, plagues, personal loss, and the constant weight of leadership. Yet, despite all that, he strived every day to remain centered. That's what Stoicism gave him, a kind of armor, not made of steel, but of thought. A shield not against arrows, but against anxiety. Stoicism, for Marcus, wasn't about emotionlessness or being cold. It was about control. It was about mastering yourself in a world that tries constantly to pull you apart. So what is Stoicism, really? It's not just ancient mumbo-jumbo or philosophy for philosophers. It's a way of thinking that can help anyone, yes, even today, stay grounded in a fast, noisy, confusing world. The Stoics believed that you cannot control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. That's the core of it. There's you, and then there's everything else. Focus on you. Focus on what's in your hands. That's where your power lies. Marcus Aurelius practiced this every day. He reminded himself not to be angry at people, because people make mistakes. He told himself not to be arrogant, even though he was emperor. He reminded himself that time is fleeting, that fame is empty, and that virtue, doing the right thing, is the only thing that lasts. Think about that. A man who could command an army with a nod was more interested in commanding his own mind. Stillness, for Marcus, was not just silence. It was inner peace. It was the kind of stillness you find in a storm when you stop panicking and start breathing. He once wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." That's powerful. Because in today's world, we're constantly bombarded by noise, by opinions, by fear, by comparison. Everyone's running, scrolling, competing. And here's this man from ancient Rome, telling us to stop. To go inward. To find peace not outside, but inside. Strength, in Marcus's world, wasn't about flexing power or domination. It was about resilience. The ability to stay upright when life tries to knock you down. And believe me, life tried. He lost multiple children to illness. He fought wars on distant borders. He faced a plague that devastated his empire. And yet, he didn't crumble. He leaned into his Stoic training. He asked, "Is this in my control?" If it wasn't, he let it go. If it was, he acted with discipline. That's real strength. Not just enduring pain, but using it. Turning suffering into fuel. Now let's talk about what Marcus actually wrote. One of the most famous lines from his meditations is this: "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That's the whole Stoic game plan, right there. It's not about being untouchable. It's about being unshakable. When someone insults you, what do? The Stoic way is to ask, does their insult define me? No. Then it's noise. Move on. When something bad happens, you ask, can I control this? No. Then focus on how you respond. That response, that space between what happens and what you do, that's where Stoicism lives. A lot of people think Stoicism means being emotionless. That's a misunderstanding. Marcus didn't suppress emotion, he examined it. He felt grief, frustration, even fear, but he didn't let those emotions steer the ship. He looked at them like a scientist. Where is this coming from? Is it useful? Is it rational? That's not cold, that's wise. That's what we're lacking today, emotional discipline. We're taught to feel everything instantly, loudly, publicly. Marcus teaches us to pause, to reflect, to choose our response. Even in dealing with other people, Marcus gives us gold. He said, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. That might sound negative, but it's actually freeing. He's saying, don't expect perfection. People are flawed. So when they act up, don't be shocked. Just be ready. That's how you keep your peace, by managing your expectations. But Marcus wasn't perfect. And that's what makes his writings even more valuable. These weren't lectures from a guru on a mountain. These were confessions from a man in the mud, struggling just like us. He didn't write, I have it all figured out. He wrote, here's what I need to remember, because I keep forgetting. That humility, that raw honesty, is why he still speaks to people today. He wasn't trying to impress. He was trying to improve. And here's the deeper beauty, Marcus Aurelius ruled the largest empire in the world, but his true kingdom was his mind. He knew emperors come and go, but character is eternal. Titles fade. Buildings crumble. But virtue? That lasts. He saw life as fleeting, a brief moment between birth and death. So he tried to live that moment well. With integrity. With reason. With love, even. Yes, love. Because Stoicism, despite its tough exterior, is full of compassion. Marcus writes again and again about kindness. About working together. About forgiving others, because we're all part of the same human family. He believed in duty, not forced responsibility, but chosen service. He believed that we're here to help each other. To do good, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Now imagine applying this today. You're stuck in traffic. Someone cuts you off. Your instinct is to rage. But then you remember Marcus. Is this in my control? No. Is it worth losing my peace? No. So you breathe. You let go. That's Stoicism. You get a bad grade. You're disappointed. But is the grade in your hands anymore? No. What is? Your effort. Your attitude. That's where your power lies. That's where Marcus would point you. Even in moments of loss, when someone you love is gone, Marcus wouldn't tell you not to cry. He'd say, feel the pain, but don't let it destroy you. He lost children. He knew grief. But he saw it through the lens of nature. Everything changes. Everything ends. That's not cruel, it's real. And in that reality, there is peace, if we accept it. Stillness, strength, Stoicism, these aren't abstract ideas. They're tools. They're ways to live in a noisy, messy world without losing your center. Marcus Aurelius lived that. He wasn't a saint. He was a man who wrestled with himself daily. And that's what makes him worth listening to. Not because he had all the answers, but because he kept asking the right questions. What is the right thing to do? What kind of person am I becoming? What really matters? These are questions we should all be asking. Not just once, but every day. That's the Stoic way. Not perfection, but practice. Not control over the world, but control over yourself. So the next time life feels heavy, remember Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who sat down each night to write himself back to balance. The man who ruled not just a kingdom, but his own restless thoughts. Let his words remind you that peace doesn't come from what you have, but from how you think. Strength isn't in muscles or status, it's in character. And stillness? That's not silence. It's presence. It's the calm in the center of your storm. You don't have to be a philosopher to live like one. You just have to pause. Reflect. Ask, is this in my control? What is the right thing to do? And then, Do it. That's what Marcus did. That's what Stoicism teaches. And that's why his voice, soft, steady, unshaken, still echoes through time. Not to preach, but to remind us, you already have the strength. You just have to return to it.